So hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Walter. As you see him coming to the screen there in the background. I didn't know he was coming down the stairs half dressed. So it is the Demetra K Show where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even because we are a great people, but we can always do better. Hello, Stacy. How are you? And so, again, I am here with WLCoulter of Verbal Herb, and all of his information is in the description box. Today, we are asking the question of should you make your teen work in order to help take care of the household, basically adding finances to the household. And I'll get into why I am asking that question in just a minute. I want to give everybody else a chance to come on here. Of course, on Wealth Wednesdays, we talk about wellness, we talk about money, and how to get more of it, how to keep it, and a whole host of other things. So please, if you all have questions that you want us to answer, please throw them in the comment section and we will be more than happy to do that. But again, we are going to be asking, should you make your teenager work to help contribute to the household financially? Hello, Brother Reggie. How are you? Of course, we're all here, which means we didn't win the lotto last week. It was like $1.2 billion. And what I understand, one person won like the big jackpot, whatever it was, in Illinois, and then a couple people here and there and everywhere won. So we're still here, but we're still hopeful. So anyway, Walter, what say you before we get started?
Shit, a lottery could have been me. I might be just here on gratis. No, if I won the lottery, you would never hear from me again. At least not on here. My Facebook page would just be like in memorandum. That's for sure. No, I'm excited about today's topic. This is a subject that's close to my heart. I got 6 kids, 4 grandkids. I got kids all around me, kids that ain't mine. They need to get to work. Period. We can go on to that. But yeah, show over.
All right. So if you can mute your mic, Walter, a little bit.
Of course.
All right. So today I was listening to a radio station, 97.9 The Box or something like that, early this morning. And they posed the question. Actually, it wasn't a question. It was a 16-year-old that had wrote into the radio station and said that he is 16 and his mother is making him get a job to help out with the family finances because her husband, and I guess his dad, went to prison. And so now she needs the son to, work and pay bills. Now, he also said that he is a student, of course, he's in high school. And he's also very busy with extracurricular activities like sports and things like that. And so he was more or less like, I think it's unfair for her to want me to work and take care of the household at 16 when, in fact, it was my dad, her husband, that went to prison. They didn't say what he did, but he is in prison nevertheless. And so there was varying opinions as to whether a 16-year-old and the other thing that she said too is, now I need you to step up and be the man of the house. And so he was like, I'm not ready to be the man of the house. I don't think that should be my job. Again, I'm a kid, I'm 16. And to, basically put that kind of a burden on me is unfair. So again, a lot of people had differing opinions. And so I want to see what you guys say. And let me get to you guys' comments. Who came in here? So Stacey, I didn't read all your comments. Let me get back to you. He said, hello from Los Angeles. What's going on out there in Los Angeles today? You also say, I don't see why. I worked when I was in high school and I helped my mother with bills. You also say, I learned how to be independent and self-sufficient. And Jay Blade, how are you doing? And Sissy, how you doing? Says, yes, they should get jobs. Okay. And Latrell, how are you? Says, yes, depending on their age. And Anais, what's going on? He says, that's pathetic. And Tanilli, I hope I said that right. How you doing? It says, grand afternoon, family. New subscriber, love your content. And thank you so much. I appreciate you for subscribing. And Anais says, it's an unnecessary situation. And who else is on here? Only Pamela's Way, how you doing? And Michael, how are you? Says, I am ambivalent about this issue, but I understand where both the mother and son are coming from. And Candy Girl, how you doing? So the teens, money needs to go to extra things that they may want, not bills. All right. So I'm going to come back to the comment section. But Walter, what do you think about this?
I have a bunch of notes on this, and this is actually a subject that I deal with every day. One, I feel, and I'm just gonna go with some topics, and then we could come back to them. One, I always ask people, because it always comes down to money, where's the savings at? Because the father could go to jail, get hit by a car, he could die, all kinds of stuff could happen to the breadwinner. Where's plan B? Where's the money saved? Two, the kids should be working. Now, here's what I mean by that. The kids should always be doing something. You guys have it twisted. If you really think your kid's going to go to school till they're 18 and get on, be like, okay, I'm ready. They're not going to be ready. They need to be engaged at an early age. Like, when I was 5 years old, I worked with my father. Thank hallelujah, all God's up in the sky that I went to work with my pops, because I learned all kind of shit at 5 years old, going to school, coming, sitting in the shop till 10, 11 o'clock. And some people are like, oh, that's cruel. But thank God, because I have a lot of that hustle. Well, I have the hustle on my own, but I know what to do with it thanks to going to work with my pops. So I think kids should be working at an early age. And you guys, you know what I'm saying? You could go and you could see other communities. And I ain't gonna say the races, but you guys, you see them all the time. They kids be in the shop at 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old, working the cash register. And some of us go, oh shit, that's amazing. It's not. When you leave the United States, that is what most cultures do, is they teach your kids at an early age how to take care of themselves. The other thing, we need to be acting like the world is coming to an end financially. Every morning I wake up, I go, shit, it's over. The world is crashing, depression. Am I ready for no food, to not have the money, to have the money stop? Am I ready? And then the other thing is, he should, at 16 years old, he should be a man. In most other countries, at 16 years old, you have a family already. In Mexico, at 15 years old, you are a woman. You can have kids and a family. It's in this country, we teach our kids to be so weak. Now, with that being said, I understand we got to give the kid a break. He should be able to go to school and all that stuff. But, like, kids need to toughen up. Did you had a job at 16?
I had a job at 14. Remember, we used to go get in that van. How scary, if you think about it. And sell
the student work program.
No, not even that. That was before. We used to sell candy. Remember, we used to get in the van and knock on doors and sell candy and table coloring books and all of that. I was 14, but Walters had jobs long before me. He even had his own lawn mowing business at like 12 or so. So, yeah.
So they should be prepared. We have to stop babying our kids, because you guys, it's not just 16, it's 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 3, 4, and 5. These guys are not ready. So now it sucks that his pops went to jail and all that stuff. I would ask the mom, what is she doing? Because she should be making money. Like, your son is 16 years old, unless you got babies at home, I give it to you. But if you got a 16-year-old son and your ass is still not at work or out being productive, that's your fault. And if your man is doing some risky shit, you probably have an idea. You don't need Erykah Badu to know when your man is probably doing something funny. So she should be ready. She shouldn't put it all on the kid. I think they should work together, in my opinion. Responsibility.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna read some of these comments and then I'll give my opinion. So Timothy, how you doing? He says, I did it in 1983. It was called Responsibility, Bills, and my cousin and I became roommates. Not a good fit, but $3.35 an hour. I remember making $3.35 an hour at McDonald's. He says, when I went on my own, I didn't have to rely on anyone except myself. Now, it should also be said that when we were making $3.35 an hour back in the 80s, when I worked at McDonald's, I think it was 87. When I was a junior in high school. Yeah. So that wasn't bad living for a teenager. Now, admittedly, I didn't have to help pay bills or anything like that, but I did, buy my own school clothes and that kind of stuff. But minimum wage now, is it really like worth it to go to work? I don't know. Y'all tell me, especially for, well, not to say especially for a kid, but in Texas it's $7.25 an hour. So I don't know. Y'all tell me. And Annette, How are you? You says bless up black family. Absolutely. He says absolutely nothing wrong with teens working, not necessarily to help with bills, but to learn responsibility. And Manrico, how you doing? He says generational wealth makes a big difference. Did Steve Jobs or Bill Gates flip burgers as teens? A small job is a good thing, especially with family, but there are only so many hours in a day. That is true. Like, are we more concerned with the kid contributing to the household, or him getting a good education and, fully living the life that his 16-year-old self should live, right? And Sissy, you said that's why we are raising spoiled brats. They feel like the world owes them something. That is true. And I says I had my first job at 15. And who else came on here? And Sissy says I lied to get my first job. I was 14. Hey, Lamarcus, how you doing? Yeah, like I said, been working since I was 14. Went door to door. It's dangerous now to think of doing something like that, but there was a van that would pick us up, the neighborhood kids up.
White van on top of that.
Okay. And we would get in this van and he would drop us off in different neighborhoods. I remember that. I want to call him something bad. He left me and my sister. It was at nighttime. It was freezing. And we're like, did he lose us? Like, we were sitting there freezing and we're crying like, where is he? Then like an hour after we got done, we're sitting on the corner. He pulls up and stuff. I'm like, I think that might have been my last day doing it. But yeah, we would go knock on doors, random strangers trying to sell, candy, coloring books. And, we did fairly well. But then he would take us to McDonald's and then we would spend the money. Who else came on here? And only Pamela's Way says $7.25 is nothing nowadays. They should definitely raise minimum wage. Yes, indeed. In other places throughout the nation, they have raised. It's still not enough. And Sweetie Van, how you doing? It says, we always have to pull our weight in our house in some shape or form. We were also taught to save and invest for a rainy day. I am grateful for this form of tough love. It has paid off. Yeah, I think a lot of people in our generation will say, yeah, it did pay off and it made us tough and it taught us work ethics. And Anna says, I'm not into toiling for capital. I'm in my work. Okay. And hey, I love JJ. How you doing? And Michael says $7.25 per hour is not enough to make ends meet. However, the kids should not stay at the service industry forever. Save a little bit while working. Yes. And Tinelli, and if I'm saying that wrong, please let me know. He says, this is why I invest in my 7 grandchildren so they can work for themselves. Yes, that is the idea. And let's see, and Patrice, if I didn't already, how you doing? It says, my first job at 16, working a summer job at Johns Hopkins Hospital. So what kind of job did you have? And I bet that was interesting. You saw a whole lot of stuff. And Jackie, how are you? He says, I'm from the old school when mother said, get a job and buy your own school clothes, buy your own pro kids or Converse. He says, all stars, no questions. He says, as I learned to go to work, my mother was the greatest. Yes, indeed. And Love JJ says, if minimum wage was not $25 federally, it's not $25 federally, then there is no discussion. $15 is an insult. Yeah, because you can't live anywhere really and sustain yourself on just a $15 an hour full-time job even. And Jay Joa, how you doing? He said, no, not the house expenses are for the parents. Teach the kids money responsibility without having them take care of your problems as the parent. And Damon, how are you? He says positive vibes to all in the chat from Little Rock, California. And Tanil, okay, thank you. Says okay, got you, Tanil. And Michael, okay, he says $25 an hour is not enough to make ends meet. A minimum wage job should be a living wage. Schools need to introduce entrepreneurship before students graduate from high school. I agree, and they used to. And then he says, did you get in on a Google split? I didn't. Maybe Walter did. Also, you said, Patrice, that you worked in the NICU, the neo, what is it, where the newborn babies are. Don't get me to trying to say what it is, but okay, where the newborns are like they are having some issues, that unit. And Jackie say it was a great principal installed in me at the age of 13 picking beans. Okay, says I brought my earnings to my mother because she knew what was best. I had the greatest mother ever lived, and I miss her. I miss my mom too. And so Anais, you're asking about investments. Are you investing in lithium? Not me, not as of yet. So Walter, what say you?
I don't know anything about lithium, but if it's a precious metal, it couldn't hurt to own it. The way I look at assets, is it's just good to have them, regardless of what it is. Even if you own a crappy asset, the fact that you own it. See, the good news about owning something is you could always get rid of it and sell it in the time of need. So when you find yourself owning things, you can. I mean, even if the investment doesn't perform well, but you own it, we could always sell it and do something else with it. So I don't know anything about lithium, but if that's your world, I mean, I know lithium. I mean, I know it's a metal commodity and all that. I'm just saying I don't know anything about it. Like I don't understand Bitcoin, Ethereum. Um, I've never invested in gold and silver, even though I know how they work. It's just good to own something, regardless of what it is. It's good to own something that you can sell. So if that's your thing, invest in it. And if you're familiar with it, then go heavy in it. Go heavy in the stuff that you understand.
And just for me, I just give my opinion on. So, if for those of y'all who might have come in a little bit later, was discussing this scenario that I heard on the radio. It was a 16-year-old boy who wrote in and basically said that his mother is forcing him to get a job to help take care of the household. And she says to him that you're the man of the house now because his father, her husband, ended up going to prison, and so she needs him to step up and help pay bills. But the 16-year-old is like, I don't feel like I should be the man of the house. And it's not my job to be the man of the house. And I'm going to school and, I'm playing ball or something like that. So he's got a lot of things going on, as most 16-year-olds do. So he doesn't feel like that's his job to do that. In fact, it's unfair. And I totally agree with him that it is unfair for her to put that much burden on him as far as you're the man of the house now, because, it robs him of so much. And it puts so much on him. Now, listen, I'm not saying he shouldn't work. I think working does, teach you a lot of values about money and saving and definitely how to earn it, right? Because you have a little bit more respect for it. But I don't think any child should be put in the seat of being a parent, especially because your dad couldn't, whatever. I don't know why he's in there, but he's in there. And so that's an adult thing, right? And so I think that's for the mom to figure out how it is she's going to make ends meet. Now, if he wants to, say, hey, mom, I'm working. Here's, some money. Maybe you can pay the cable bill, light bill. I don't know. But to put him in the helm of where his dad would normally be, I think that's totally wrong. And I agree with you, Walter. She needs to, like she probably knew her husband was up to no good, depending on why he went or whatever. But to saddle your child, your son with that burden, I think it also sets him up in the future to have other issues, to be resentful toward his mom. And, maybe he's not going to do so well in school now because he's working. And now he's also worried about, damn, are we going to be able to make ends meet? Because, dad is in jail and she's dependent on me. And so why would you want to put that kind of stress and burden on your 16-year-old son and then call him the man of the house? But I guarantee you, he wouldn't be able to make no real decisions up in there. Guarantee you ain't going to be able to bring his woman up in there since he the man of the house, right? So is he the man in the house, financially, or is he the man in the house completely? So that's just my whole take on it.
That's a good point. I mean, because if you want him to be the man, then you gotta be prepared to deal with having your 16-year-old tell you what to do and run the house. It's funny, we talk about being the man of the house and we equate that to making money and being, responsibility. But, I kind of feel this backlash of saying, hey, he's a man, he's in control. If you want him to be that dude, then he runs the house. And in my opinion, the man, and he's a breadwinner too, which now seems like, a wonderful thing. She should be prepared for that. And again, I just hope it's not like, okay, give me the money, what I'm saying? And if you making him work like that, what are you doing with the cash? What are you doing with it? I think parents should be responsible to their kids to, one, show them what to do with the money. And if you're making, okay, kid, like me, I talk to my kids about money all the time, and I actually pay several of my kids to do work for me. But my only thing with them is if I pay you, save it. I don't want to see you spending it on crap. I'm not going to pay you, which means I'm paying you because you're my kid. Obviously I can get someone else to do it, but your job is to keep that cash saved, and me too. So if something comes up, then I'm prepared to deal with it. But yeah, these kids, man, I tell you, that's a whole nother. That's later in this video. But man, some of these kids need a foot in their ass. That's what, man. Some of these kids ain't ready, and the school system is a scam. Whoever said that, I agree with you.
That was love, JJ. Let me get this. And Damon, you say either man of the house or out on the streets without a roof over your head. Yeah, I mean, I get where you're going. I think, if I don't think it should be the burden should be put on him. Now, if he's working, yeah, you might not want to pocket all his money. Maybe want to help his mom out. But to say, now you the man of the house, I think that's totally unfair. I mean, he's not prepared to be the man of the house at all. She is, I guess maybe would be on the job training, but what does that mean exactly? Does it mean I just need your money? Does it mean that you the man in the house and you maybe if he's got other siblings, you're helping to raise the siblings, you're making man decisions in regards to the household? Like, what does that involve, right? And J. Joa, thank you so much for the $2 donation. I love and appreciate you for that. You said she wants the son to be her husband, aka son husband. Yeah, I mean that's another way of looking at it too, and that could kind of mess him up, I would think. Like, now I'm the man in the house. When my daddy was that, I don't want to be the man in the house because it does not in an incestuous way or nothing like that, but just the notion of now you the man in the house, which means that we're running the household together. Now I don't know if she wants him to be her husband necessarily, but I get where you're going with that. And Tanel, you say the parents are the responsible party, not to take the dad's place. Yeah, I don't think so either. Let's see here. And I love JJ. He says the title alone of this live, I'm visualizing good times where JJ, Thelma, and Michael had jobs, side jobs, hustles, and JJ was always finding things to help the family. Kids need to be kids, not providers. Absolutely. They want to help, great, but to put that on their shoulders, I mean, hell, there's a lot of adults that don't know what to do. I mean, his mom, even you think about her, she can't handle it, so she's putting the burden on him. So it's like, you can't handle it as a grown-up who's probably been, sharing the responsibility with your husband. Now all of a sudden you want to put it on your 16-year-old who was new to it. It's like, what? So yeah, I totally agree with you. And Patrice says, no, he's not the man of my house. I know that's right. And Sissy says that's her problem for choosing a bum. Yeah. And Damon says, had her rotor tiller business with my mom at 14. Yes. And again, we're not saying people shouldn't work, or kids shouldn't work. I mean, I think we all had a job or whatever when we were 16, but, to make it the responsibility of the child to now, be the man of the house, that's a bit much, I would think. And I also want to know how old his mom is. And Kiki says, sounds like she's thinking about herself. Good point. And Jackie says, I'm not going to try to tell his mom how to run her house, but that's not his place. He's not the man of the house. He's your son. There's nothing wrong with him going to work. And only Pamela's Way says a 16-year-old is not a man and she shouldn't put that on him. Absolutely. And Kiki says, and it sounds like the kid is developing a resentment towards her. That's not good. Yeah, especially for him to write into the radio station, to ask their opinion. So he didn't sound like he was in love with the idea at all. In fact, he says it's not fair and I shouldn't have to do it. And Michael says, how come we never talk about white people not forcing their kids to work after 400 years of slavery, etc.? White children are wealthy because they inherited a lot of money. Yeah. And typically, is my screen fuzzy, you guys?
No, not really. Not to me.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. It's odd, but let me know if it can, Timothy, and thank you so much for the donation, and thank you for telling me my screen is fuzzy. Just let me know if it continues to do that, and I'll maybe have to go out and come back in. Yeah, but Michael, a lot of other people, they already come from wealth, and so there's not a big deal for their child to work. They might have like a cute little summer job at the country club or something like that. But never is it that, I don't want to say never, but rarely is it for them to help out in paying the bills. And
yeah, we gotta, you guys, slavery ended. I get it. Well, I guess we don't really know when it ended officially for everybody. But I know, like, right now, this is 2022, I'm 52 years old. And I know in my generation, we were taught, we had piggy banks. We were taught to, that you could save and invest. They had CNBC and all kind of the wall. I read the Wall Street Journal when I was young. I mean, the point I'm making is a generation ago, 2 generations ago, I would even say 3 generations ago, Black people were able to save, invest, and buy real estate. There are a lot of Black people that do extremely well because they started the ball. In 2022, if you go back even 1 generation, all Black people were dirt poor and we had nothing, but we were allowed to save 10, 15% of our wealth. We wouldn't be having this conversation about white folk all the damn time. I mean, white people, whatever damage is done. We need to move the ball. Black people, we are still on the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to saving money. That's what it is. If we go in 1 generation, Black people could take the reins. It's funny, we have the power over everything else. We are the best at what we do. No one will argue that, right? Whether it's Cedric the Entertainer said, put a Black dude in church shoes on the slopes, it's a wrap. Even in the skiing event, it's over. You never seen the Kings of Comedy? So the point we need to grab the ball. Period. One thing I taught my kids, and my son Chris would tell you, used to always joke, Dad, we're gonna refinance, pull the money out, buy another house. We had this conversation when he was like 6 or 7 years old. And so I just drove it down their throats. And so a lot of the other races, they do that too. They didn't have, they come from behind like we did. But, you guys, we're all right now, we're in a football game, and Black people, we have the ball. And some of us still talking about what it used to be like before they let us in the game. I don't know if that makes sense. Just pick up the ball. We're all right now, we can start from zero, slavery. Okay, y'all Black people go work and make money. In 10, 15 years, we could be a powerful race if we just put our money to work. That's all there is to it. And then our kids wouldn't be in this position. Because the dad's in jail. Where's the aunt, the uncles, the grandma, the grandpa? Where's everybody else? Nobody got money?
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And Brother Jonell says we can't blame the student. And how you doing, by the way? It says the root issue is the teacher. We have too many degraded parents and teachers serving our children miseducation, guesses, lies, and BS, like in the case of the book Poor Dad, Rich Dad, yes, by Robert Kiyosaki. Very good book. It's been around for a long time, and he tells a story of both of his dads. One, his biological, who was a teacher but was broke, and then his friend's dad, which was the rich dad, and he taught him how to make money and become very wealthy. So they had two different mindsets. So very good example. And Kiki, you say, I don't know who I don't know who it was. I think Love JJ. I agree. They need to bring back teaching kids trades. Schools aren't teaching these kids to be a part of the world. They're teaching them to slave of the world, to be slaves of the world. Learning a trade leads to more self-sufficiency and even more entrepreneurship, especially for boys. Yes, when we were coming up, they had a program called ROP, Regional Occupational Program, where you can learn cosmetology, the restaurant industry, and you name it, you can learn a whole bunch. And so by the time you graduated from high school, you actually left there with a trade. So yeah, they need to bring that back. And Only Pamela's Way says, how are you going to save something when you have to pay it all out in bills? Yeah, that's true. A lot of people just really aren't making enough to save a whole lot. You have to be really good at budgeting and, spending your money wisely. But I guess it could be done. And in some cases, you just have to get, a more source of income to be able to do that. And Scratch and Win, boom, how you doing? He says, I believe that at 16, the child should have a job and purchase their essentials, half their check, the other half you save. Absolutely. And Kiki says, Walter is right. I heard a white guy, this was a white guy, say that if Black people united, we would rule the world. Even they see it. Yep, but we don't see it. And Jackie says, we have to be considerate of some of these young men and young ladies that are growing up today. The first problem is broken homes, broken relationships, but that's no excuse. No, absolutely. And Ashonda at large, how you doing? So most teens do not work. I find became extremely entitled. I think you say I find they became extremely entitled. Teach them to work, save, invest so they aren't entitled and broke when they grow up. Yeah, because it is unfortunately, a lot of times in our community, we like to kick them out the house when they're 18 and we haven't taught them nothing, right? And yes, Damon, you say minimalist mindset. Yes, I consider myself to be a minimalist to some degree. I can always stand to tighten up. A minimalist means only using what you need so that you can have the things that you want, right? You can afford them. So basically means not having 20 pair of black shoes. You only got one set of feet. So you only need, one pair of black shoes, right? Or a couple of shoes. You don't need a whole closet full. Now
Well, that's common sense.
right.
That's just common sense. And since, like, I'm going to address one of the comments about how can you save money if you have bills to pay. That is horse shit. To the horse shack. What was that TV show?
Welcome back, Carter.
That is Welcome Back, Carter. Horse shit. If you make $1, you save 10 cents and then you pay bills with the rest. Have you guys ever been in a position where you didn't have the money for the bill? You ever, was it just me? Maybe the shit comes up and you ain't got the money. How did you do it? You figured it out. Your investments need to be a bill. Black people, we need to cut this shit out. The minute we start saying our investments is our first bill, that's our first bill. Fuck the rent, the mortgages, all that other stuff. Our investments are first, because if you don't invest first, you will always be in a position where bills have you by the throats. Number one. Two, stop babying these kids. Let's cut the woke shit out. It's like you can't watch TV, you can't get engaged. It's like, oh, I'm black first. Or I gotta worry about my race before I can move on to step two. The problem is we baby our kids and we like, as a black kid in the school system too, you got to keep hearing about. Now we got, what was it, the dumbass holiday we just got, Juneteenth, and Black History Month, and all these shitty things that black people do to each other. It's like Morgan Freeman asked Mike Wallace, do y'all have Jewish History Month? He said, we don't want one. Like, so we keep inundating these kids with like, oh, you're black, we have all these challenges, and then we baby them. We need to make their asses work, and you stay in their face. These black kids, they don't have no fucking skills. They have zero skills, and they are being exterminated. So between having no skills, the police, and all the other things that black kids have to deal with, at one point we need to take responsibility. All that other shit, like every time I watch TV, it's some woke shit. The lady screaming about, but you're a black man in America. But there are a lot of rich black men, and there are a lot of black men that take care of their families. I live in a neighborhood, and I had a bunch of black men in my neighborhood. My next door neighbor works for Apple. He has a whole family over there. They chilling over there. I don't never hear, every time I talk to him, he don't never talk about that woke bullshit. You know what he talks about? My stock options at Apple. I'm stacking my shit so I can start my own technology company. Never do me and him talk about race. None of my other black neighbors, none of us talk about this woke shit. But when you turn on TV, it's woke shit. Kids need to work. Now, as a parent, I think they should take half their money and put it somewhere where it's going to help. But the other half, they should save. Period. For their future. Because it teaches them responsibility. Like my mom, and she waited till we got older. I know we had the conversation about rent multiple times. My father never brought it up, but my mom did, because we didn't live with my father all the time either. My mom brought up rent, and I'm glad that she brought it up, because now it's on my mind that you have to be responsible. And my mom worked hard as hell. You know what I'm saying? So like, I wish, only thing I would have done differently as my mom is I would have sat us down at the table and said, okay, hey, you and Dee make $3.35 an hour. That's $7 an hour together. We're going to take that $7 and here's how we're going to grow your wealth in your future. And by the way, I need some help. I could get out like that. That makes sense.
No, I mean, it makes absolute sense. And I would say when I worked, I saved my money. I've always been pretty good at saving money. Not really one of those people that, just spend money. I don't have a closet full of clothes and, all of that. In fact, most of the men I've dated have usually had more clothes than me. So, yeah, I was always pretty frugal, can save money. And because my mom did always say, cash is king and it's better to have it, in case, for whatever reason. And so always try to have some money on you. Never be without money. And Sissy says, I have stopped celebrating all of these holidays. They can't have my money. I know that's right. Um, I remember, and I'm waiting for some more comments. I'll tell y'all a story. When I moved into my first apartment by myself with my daughter, I had like $17 until payday. So payday was like 5 or 6 days away. But I also needed to pay my light bill. And I was just going to pay the light bill. It wasn't much. I think it was about 16 bucks. So I was only going to have a dollar or so left. And I was telling my mom about it. And I was like, man, I'm going to pay my light bill and I won't have any money until I get paid. I was just kind of having a conversation with her. And she says, you ain't going to have no money. She says, what you better do is call the light company and get an extension. And I didn't know anything about that because, I was kind of on my own, in my own spot, for the first time. And so my mom did teach valuable things, but she always said from that point, don't ever, I don't care what the situation is. I don't care what you owe. Never be where you have no money in your pocket. She said, you can call and make arrangements and deals and stuff like that. But she said, don't never give your last dollar away to nobody. And I was like 23 years old or so. And I never, ever forgot that.
Yeah, that's huge. Always keep cash. You know what corporations do? They keep cash. Like, look at Robinhood. Everybody that went into the Robinhood, screw the rich dude. Robinhood is here to steal from the rich to the poor. Just laid off 20-something% of their staff. In addition to the 9% they laid off. What the hell do you think Robinhood is doing? And how ironic is this? We're going to help the poor. And that's the premise anyways. Robinhood, Vlad, he was never about helping the poor because the poor don't invest. But imagine that. They cut their expenses. They're not spending their last bills. So we need to make money. I tell you, when black people, we make money the number one, we're going to be untouchable. Like Beyonce and this and that and Khalees and all this other shit black people. My God, Lord have mercy, we're so distracted. I can't even watch TV. Like I'll turn on Netflix or Amazon and every other show is about black wokeness or some bullshit. I'm watching this one show. I'm not watching it because it's trash. But I was watching All American and then they got the spinoff Homecoming. And I see they got a dude in there with like lipstick and long hair. He looked like a bitch. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on with black TV? That I can't even turn on the TV. And I got a dude with his hair longer than every woman on the show. Now, listen, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not down with the men that look like women. Period. If you're one of those, you can turn off right now.
Well, I'm going to say this. I hear what you're saying, brother.
I hear what you're saying. But
on these platforms, we got to kind of play by their rules. So I just want to put that out there.
I hear what you're saying. But it's confusing as hell to our kids. Like if I'm watching this shit, I'm going, damn, what are our kids supposed to think? By the time they get to financial conversations, it's too late. Their minds are spent on all this other shit. We need to do a better job of protecting our kids. Like, period. The kids can't do the kids. I talk to kids all day. These kids are dumb as rocks. It's like, what if you had to be out on your own? What would you do? Like when I was a kid, we used to like come up with things and man, like I remember my boy Brian. Well, you remember Brian, the dude I used to kick with from the church. Me and Brian, we got a lawnmower. We would go cut grass and we would sell shit. It was always
that was Ron.
No, it was my Brian too. Ron Overstreet. We had a lawnmower business, but my boy I can't remember Brian's last name from the church. He had that fine.
Yeah. Brian was fine too. I was like, oh, I remember Brian. Yes, I remember Brian.
That's funny. Women remember that shit. His mama was fine too. But we had a lawnmower business, and I just remember we always had money as a kid, and it just seemed like the thing to do. Our parents didn't baby us. Now you ask a kid, hey, can you? It's like, a hail to the no. I can't do that. Like, I need your help. Can you be here at 8:00 in the morning so we could get this thing going? And it's like, and I don't know where it fell off.
let me actually take a couple of these, but I agree with you. That's only Pamela's way. He says, when do you call? When you do call and make arrangements for a bill, they tack on late fees, so you're constantly trying to catch up. It just depends on what it is. But I guess my mom's point was, you big dummy, for lack of better words. Why would you give everything you have? Now, remind you, in 1995, $17 wasn't a lot of money, but you can make it go a little bit further. So I only had a couple of days to payday, and I was starting out. I think I was only making at the time like nine something an hour, which was still okay, right? But I had an apartment. It was 350. I think my apartment was 350. I had a car note that was probably like two something, and I had to take care of my daughter. But her point was, I don't care what it is. Don't give away your last dime. Keep something in your pocket for yourself. Now, of course, I would want to do better, and I did from that point. But even if they do tack on a little bit of something, it's better than paying it on the back end than not having any money in your pocket to God, at least buy your child a loaf of bread or something. So I think that was kind of what she was saying. And let's see. I want to go back to this comment here. And I love JJ. He says, having kids focus so much on making the next dollar. Oftentimes, the parents are living through their kids because of their traumatic childhood experiences. Once again, parentification, not okay. So I agree with you on that. It could be something from the parents' childhood to where they're like, I didn't have it, easy, and you won't have it easy either. And this is how you got to do this, that, and the other. We do need to work on letting go of the trauma that we experience as children, so we don't raise our children in that space. So I totally agree with you on that. And Sissy, you said, I shop at thrift stores, and that's my side hustle. Yeah, I love shopping at thrift stores as well. And Damien says it's about getting to the finish line with some assets to pass on. Yes, indeed. And Ashandi says, I wish that my parents taught me money management. As a teen, I worked, but I didn't have that instruction. We teach our children to understand and respect money. If you don't, they will struggle for years. Yeah, we got to teach them while they're still at the house. It's unfair to kick them out the house at 18 and say, fly, even though I didn't teach you how. I didn't give you any necessary tools. I didn't teach you how to be on your own or any of that. I'm just kicking you out the house because I'm about to have me some me time now. And then, like you said, the kids get out there and struggle. And for whatever reason in our community, we think it's admirable, or we're teaching our children if they struggle. It's like, well, when you struggled, you didn't like it. So why would you put your child out there to struggle? And somebody else made a comment. I don't know if it was Kiki, I forget who it was, but white parents and other parents, they set their kids up. And I'm not saying that black parents don't. A lot of black parents do, but they do set their children up to where they don't get kicked out of the house. They're like, stay as long as you need to, but as long as you're productive. Because my father always said, I'm not going to help you do nothing. I will help you as long as you help yourself. But we got to start teaching that, right? Like, I would never kick my kid out the house and, she didn't have anywhere to go, or she was not on her feet. Well, I mean, but she couldn't stay here and not be productive. Like, she got to be doing something. Like, you're not going to just be kicking it all day long type of thing. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of us do. We don't light a fire under our children's behind and say, hey, nah, you either need to go to school, you need to work, or you need to be productive, but you're not going to sit up here sucking up air conditioning. Y'all remember people back in the day? I knew I had a friend whose mom was more or less like, when I leave up out the house, y'all leaving out the house. And sometimes she left at like 5:30 in the morning because she's like, y'all not going to be up here sucking up my air conditioning and running my electricity up while I'm at work, and y'all ain't doing nothing. I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's kind of extreme. I do understand her point. And you guys, what you could do, and this is what I did with my kids. Actually, me and Dee, when she moved back, you moved back to California. I can't remember. You moved back. I moved back from Irvine. We moved into that house in Riverside. One thing you can do is you can move out and let the kids keep the house. My kids, two of them still live in the house that me and Dee lived in. I just was like, okay, y'all got it. Here to go. And I'd like the security deposit back one day. Matter of fact, that's a note I need to write to myself. That's money sitting over there. It's an asset. But that's an idea too. Sooner or later, you want to get up and do something different. I mean, I love it that my kids are independent. so I can do something. But I want to, I want to make sure. I wanted to make sure that they were okay and they were able to do it. That's why I rammed financial services down their throat to the point where when I show up, they're like, "Oh, here we go. It's money talk." Yes. What else is there? Like right now, you guys, you realize we're like approaching a food shortage and no one's talking about it. No, I talked to a farmer in Texas. She's like, our crop is dying. Like she goes, we are stacking up on food. We are stacking up on food and water. And I'm like, and this is coming from a farmer. So like, it's not just the dollar bill you fold, and we like as donations on the show, it's also the stuff that money does, right? Like teach one thing my father used to always say to me, and I don't know how much food he has saved, but my father used to always say, buy can your foods. And I was like, okay, I ain't gonna can my shit. I'm just gonna buy canned goods. Every time I go to the store, I buy tuna in a can, and I buy things that can sit for months, years in the garage. And then my daughter comes over here, and I see that next comment. And my daughter comes over here and steals my tuna. Me and my daughter just had this conversation about cigar smoke. The good thing about cigar smokers is one, cigar smokers don't inhale. Two, cigars are natural. I know because I made my own cigar and it's all leaves and you pull the nicotine out, but I do get it. I do understand. And 18, that's a good question. It's arbitrary.
Because that's considered the age of majority, right? That's the age of adulthood in most states. And so I just think that's why we set the number. You grown now, you 18. It's like, well, chronologically, they're an adult, but mentally and everything else, they're not an adult. They're still, on the precipice of being a child going into adulthood. And you think about it, like, why would you? Most people wouldn't even set their dog out on the street and say, go fend for yourself now. But they'll do that to their child. And that's really backwards.
Yeah. The PETA and sometimes United Negro Fund and PETA, man, geez, whew, some people treat their animals better than their kids. And that does suck for all kinds of reasons.
And then hello, Chad. How are you? Walter, what do you think about this? He says, I'm 23. I think parents should pay for everything until the child is 21. And to be honest, kids aren't mentally prepared until 23, 24.
It depends on how you're raised. Now, me, when I was 18, 17, I had my own apartment, car, everything. So I think if you prepare your kids at a young age, they'll be ready. And honestly, you guys, kids at 23, 24, 25, 26, a lot of them aren't ready either. There's not an age, I think, where you're ready. I think when you're being taught and you pick up on it and then you follow through, then I think you're ready. You guys should all follow Gary Vee. Dude is brilliant. His father owned a liquor store and made him quit whatever he was doing and take over and work in the liquor store. Do you know that Gary Vee, as a child, got into wine and liquor and started Wine Library or Wine TV or something like that? Gary Vaynerchuk is on his way to billions of dollars based on the fact that his father made him work in the liquor store, and he took that knowledge, he watched his father work, and he turned it into an empire. So I get the age thing. Like, I'm 21. I get it. Like, you shouldn't, at 21, I believe that your parents should still be guiding you. But I think at that age, like, if you know that you can do it, then you could do it. 21, 16, 17, I think if you understand what to do. Because here's the thing. At 21, you're in a better position than I am to start a business. Because at 21, like at 52, Shopify trying to learn it is kicking my ass. And Printify and AliWest and Alibaba and Facebook Marketplace and advertising and Fiverr and Odesk and all these, and oh my God, well, all these things that you guys have access to. What's Dbop, whatever the hell that is. All these things you guys do in your sleep. For me to figure out TikTok and advertise Verbal Herb, my clothing line, it's taking me forever. But a 19-year-old kid, oh, I got TikTok. Boom, here you go. Take your shirt. Boom, it's on there. You guys are in a better position to do than we were. Period. As a kid, the problem is you guys And I'm not talking about you, my brother. You seem like you are kind of, mentally in the game, but these kids have too much shit to say. When I was a kid, I was like, Dad, it's over. Now, my dad didn't really do that, so he didn't have to, but I knew he was capable of it, and he would. I got my ass whipped a couple times. But my mom whooped my ass when my dad did. Keep it real. I was more afraid of my mom than my father. So these kids, you can't say shit to them. Like, D, we talked about this. You wake up in the morning and the parents are taking the trash out. Like, the mamas are taking the trash out. The parents got the lawnmower and they got a 15-year-old son in the house and the parents are mowing the grass. I never saw my parents cut the grass. As soon as my hands were able to do this and reach the lawnmower, my parents never saw my parents in the yard. I'm trying to think. Did I ever see my... No, ever did I see my father, my mom, none of my parents, father figures, mom figures, whatever, aunts. I never saw them cut the grass. Ever. I think it starts right there. Wake your ass up. It's okay. I go to work at 5:30. Making a kid get up at 5:30 and leave the house is a bit extreme, even for me. But
I guess her point was, y'all some lazy mofos, and while I'm at work busting a hustle, you not finna be enjoying my cold air conditioning and my electricity. Y'all need to be, and they were, I think, at the time they were a little older, so it's like, y'all need to be productive as well. So yeah, she will put them out the house, and when she go to work, and be like, y'all can come back when I get off.
Oh, I hate coming home and the house is ice cold. F that. I'm like, no, Lord. Like, listen, you've been here long enough and that the house is 62 degrees. Come on now. Shit. Anyways, I understand her point. I just think maybe 5:30 is a little extreme. Unless they go to bed at 7:30 p.m., then they should be up at 5:30. But you need to tell them what to do. And these kids, they need to shut their mouths and just get to it. Because what if the parents had a stroke or had an accident or got killed? What would you do as a kid? It just never dawned on me to wait for my parents. I always acted like my parents were going to kick me out or something was going to change. That's just always, it was always that way for me. I was always nervous and wanting to go get my money. Right. And then I know the brother was just saying something about the wealth gap. You guys, the wealth gap with black and white people right now, the wealth gap is in self-induced pain by black people. Because we're never going to go. Let me finish. Pump your brakes. Let me finish. We have the wealth gap. And if you guys, I told you to watch that Bloomberg special on the wealth gap. It's I sent it to you. It's the bomb. You will get it. Black Wall Street, everything. But knowing all that, we should be angry enough and willing to close the gap. You guys, there are a lot of white people that don't have the net worth that I have, or that a lot of my black neighbors, my black neighbor, him and his wife got 2 Teslas and one they don't even touch, and him and his wife stacked to the sky. We talk about investments and shit. There's no wealth gap over at his house. Or my other black neighbors, him and his wife balling out. But the thing is, they work like crazy and they stack money. When I see them, we talk about stacking money, saving. What are we doing? I always see you out there hustling, Walter. Like, what's next? Like, that is how we close the wealth gap. How did Jay-Z close the wealth gap? How did LeBron? How did Robert Smith? You understand what I'm saying? How did Pharrell, what we talked about earlier, or Kanye, or any of these black business leaders, the dudes that own, I think, Ariel Mutual Funds, black people, how did they close the wealth gap? How did Ken Chenault, the president of American Express, close the wealth gap? He went after the wealth gap. Push the woke shit to the side. Yeah, we have a wealth gap, but we can close it. Period. Right now, real estate's falling apart. Hallelujah, Jesus. Thank God that real estate is taking a dive. Because now, those of you that couldn't buy real estate a year ago because their house was on the market 22 seconds, now it's price drop. So now, as a home buyer, I can say, hey, man, your house has been on the market 34 days. I tell you what, you want 250? I'm gonna give you 220. But I'm gonna give you 250 in escrow, but I want 30 back at closing so I can take this 30, fix up this house, put a little money in my house, get my stuff fixed up. You know what I'm saying? Put a little money in my pocket, and then I'm gonna rent this house out on Airbnb, which is, you understand what I'm saying? That you can do right now. Black, white, Puerto Rican, and Haitian. You could do it. The problem is, ain't nobody talking about that. And what I just said, most people, that shit will go over their head. But I hear it and I talk about it all day long. This is the best time for Black people to build wealth, because we have the world is still somewhat sensitive to Black needs. I think it's going away because they have their own problems. But like during the pandemic and the Floyd and all that stuff, Black people, we really had the ear of the world. It wasn't a long time.
Let me jump in here. So yes, absolutely. And Damon, you said it as well. Each household has their own economy, which is true. But we do know, and then I'm going to take Michael's comment. It says, Walter, that is great. Your friend is doing well, I think. It says, but not everybody is doing well. Please talk to Philip Scott about closing the wealth gap. Cash reparations are needed to close the wealth gap. And that is absolutely true. It is a mathematical fact that it will take us 232 years to catch up to the wealth of white people due to slavery, Jim Crow, and even the stuff that's going on now, systemic and institutional racism. Just you name it, the stuff is still going on. And so we will never, ever close the wealth gap or even come close to it until we have reparations. And so, yes, on an individual basis, there's things that we could do to do better, and we can help close the wealth gap on our end as well.
Let me ask you another question. Do we need to close the wealth gap to do well as a people?
As a people, yes, we do need to close the wealth. We need to come close.
Okay, so I can play the devil's advocate, because I want to be. I'm not saying we don't need to close it, but I'm saying, do we need to close it to do well? What if we just took care of our own gap between poverty and us? What if we created a gap between financial stress and us? You guys, we're never going to be able to take back Jim Crow, and we're not getting reparations. Joe Biden, his ass half the time, he is asleep. Reparations are not coming. Like, you guys got AOC and Nancy Pelosi. You guys gave all these guys the power, and they screwed it up. Reparations, definitely. You know who got reparations? Is Nancy Pelosi's ice cream cabinet. Like, stop voting for these fools, number one. You understand what I'm saying? And then how we close the wealth gap is get up earlier. My neighbor, for a fact, I know him and his wife, when I wake up at 5 a.m. to work out and walk the neighborhood, him and his wife, their lights are already on. They're already, and I can see they have the window open, and I can see them both sitting at the computer, at the laptop, at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I can take my ass over there tonight at 8 o'clock and see them maybe after dinner sitting at their laptop. They're not going to do it forever. But what if they did it long enough to be able to say, okay, now I can help the next generation, right? And our ancestors worked hard, but one thing our ancestors did not have is they didn't have the opportunity we have right now. And honestly, I think our ancestors will be very irritated with the way Black people, we treat and act with each other based on all the shit they went through. Slavery. I can't even imagine the shit Black people went through during slavery. I don't even want to think about like being tied on a boat across, like I've been on cruise ships, and I don't even like being on a cruise ship, not being able to leave and do what I want. Can you imagine being chained to a ship from Africa to the US to the point where you want to jump off in the middle of the ocean? To then get to a point now where Black people can congregate, stack our money, save. Some of us have become billionaires, and the majority of us are still bitching about the past.
Well,
what they would say.
But I'm at to push back. Yeah, some of us are, as you say, bitching about the past, but the past.
Maybe reminiscing is the word.
Reminiscing.
About reminiscing or holding on to it. You guys, there's nobody that's more aware of Black pain than me.
Okay, but let me ask you this. How can we let go of it if we're always reminded of it? I mean, we still are here in 2022 where you can see a Black man lose his life senselessly at the hands of, police brutality, and anywhere else, somebody wants to do something to somebody. So it's not that that stuff is gone and is never coming back. It is still here.
It ain't gonna ever go away.
Huh?
It's never gonna go away.
Right. So then how do you let it go?
Okay, you guys, first of all, that is never going to be gone. Like Public Enemy said, the fear of a black planet, for all kind of reasons, that's never going to disappear. But we can do things about it. Somebody asked, how come the Japanese and the Jews got reparations? I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened with the Jews.
Because a wrong was committed against them as a people, just like it's committed against us as a people. And that infusion of cash to them helped them get to where they are as far as in society with wealth and stuff like that. So black people are the only race of people who have not gotten that infusion of cash for a wrong that was done to us. And so that's why it is said, without that money, it is going to be damn near impossible to close the wealth gap so that we can have better neighborhoods and a whole host of other things. And that, like, a lot of times we think of like the infusion of cash, like one big check, but we're even talking about things as far as black people. Like back in the day, we used to have factories and, you know, sustainable jobs in our neighborhood. We don't have those things anymore. And so that doesn't help us close the wealth gap if most of the jobs in our neighborhoods are minimum wage, or we don't own, you know, a lot of businesses and stuff. And so the other part of that too is a lot of times as black people, if you go try to get a business loan, you may not get that due to racism. And who was it? Warren Buffett, his company is under fire, his real estate company, because they got busted not wanting to write mortgages in black neighborhoods. And this was the other day. So those little things that we keep hearing about as far as like your Warren Buffett's and the low paying jobs and this, that, and the other, those things help widen the wealth gap. So yeah, there's things we can do individually, but as long as you have the systemic and institutional racism that keeps going, it's going to make it damn near impossible. So that's why we as black people in America need our money.
But here's the thing. Let's talk about shit we can control. Reparations is not in black people's control. Black people, we have so much voting power to the point where we took third place Joe Biden, put his ass in the White House. Let's talk about stuff we can control, like saving our own money. You guys, reparations is never coming. They're never going to stop profiling black people. The court system is never going to be friendlier to black people. They are not. They don't want to. This country was built on systemic racism, and the powers that be are still running this country. That's never going to change. So why don't we take that subject and put it in the freezer? Because it ain't going to never change. And in my opinion, and maybe we step on some toes, I think the more we talk about reparations, I think the more damage we do to the race, because we are not getting reparations from them. They don't even want us here.
So I'll concede some of your point as far as they don't want to give it to us. And the other part of that is they don't want to give it to us because we have too many schisms in our community. You know, Asians, they work together and they get everything they ask for. As someone else said, it was Michael actually said the Asians and Jewish community got reparations, and that stuff wasn't done to them necessarily here, but they still got, you know, reparations for whatever reason. And so, you know, we need our money.
We have black leaders. We have black leaders in office. What the hell what's Maxine Waters doing? What are all these people doing?
So that's where it becomes our fault, because we continue to vote them in when they should not be voted in. In fact, you know, I was joking with Donovan the other day about how some of these elected officials were the first black, woman or man to do that job. And guess what? They're the only black man or woman to do that job, because they've been in office, 30, 40, 50 years. And so it's like, how are they allowed to stay in office that long, not getting black people results, especially when they go in there off the votes in the backs of black people? So I agree with you. That is our fault. And that is partially why we won't get reparations, because we vote in people who say, oh yeah, I'm for reparations. And then they get in there like, well, you know, we tried. We're going to get to it. And then we allow them to keep telling us that every election cycle.
And they full of shit. And here's the other thing. So I'm gonna go back to that comment. Donovan, you crazy. I want to study this comment. I was watching I've been trying to get to All American for like months. I'm trying to get to the show. I do want to get to the end of it. But one thing I noticed on the show is, go back to the other comment. The one thing I noticed on the show is when I watch the black men talk on the show, there's always tension. There's always, when you get two brothers on the screen, there's so much tension between the two of them. And I'm watching the show, and I think every time they talk, a fight's going to break out. They in the hallway, they in the locker rooms, or whatever. They're like, the tension for your two black men in each other's presence, they are going to fight. This comment right here, I get the point, but like, listen to how we ended this comment. When someone said, hey, brought to me, I know it's only cracking. That ain't some friendly shit you say. The problem with black people is we cannot even disagree. Two black men disagreeing on a subject is a fucking fist fight.
Well, I don't know if they meant that disrespectfully. So I would take that
man. I know what that means. It's disrespect. Like, reparations are not coming. One, because our black leaders that we keep electing ain't doing shit. They got too much money to not do nothing. I guarantee you Maxine Waters is sitting in her mega mansion, her and her husband, and they're balling out. They having filet mignon and caviar, and their constituents can't even pay the light bill. It is our fault at this point to keep voting those people in, and then we vote them in and they don't do shit. They're the ones that every time, what's her name, Maxine Waters open her mouth, she should be like, where's our money? Every time a black leader opens their mouth, they should start the meeting out. Hey, I know we're here to fuck with Mark Zuckerberg for the 400th time, but before we get started, where is our money? Why don't we hashtag black politicians? Where is our money? Do you understand what I'm saying? Why don't we start that instead of attacking the black people that are actually doing well, or making it seem like black people cannot do well individually? That is bullshit.
Well, I don't think anybody's saying that we can't do well individually. It's just that, it is kind of, reparations is a sensitive subject, because I will say, I know as, black woman in America, I get tired of hearing people say we're not going to get it. And I understand why people say it, but we do need to focus on being unified in order to get it. I mean, golly, we got a lot of power. We just don't use it correctly. And, as Dr. Claude Anderson says, we are the only group of people that vote against our better interests, right? We vote as a block against our better interests. Most black voters are Democrats, but are most white voters Republicans? No. You know what I'm saying? So we somehow feel like we need to go vote Democrat, even though Democrat is not serving our better purpose. In fact, in a lot of cases, it's worse. So I hear what you're saying as far as we'll never get it, but we deserve it, and there are things that we need to be doing to get it. So I agree with that, but I don't think we should say we should not focus on reparations.
I want reparations, and we should get them, but that conversation needs to come from our leaders. Because me and you and anybody in this podcast, we don't have the power individually to do it. But when we start saying to our black leaders, where is the money? Hashtag, where's the money? That's it. We shouldn't be talking about nothing else, because I would like to get a check for 50 grand. It'd be like, yo, 50 grand. I can go out and do this and do that. I can put a down payment on a small apartment building down south in Texas, and I get another party started. I want that. I am not. And by the way, Al, kiss my ass. You know damn well I'm not against reparations. I just don't I don't believe in the Easter Bunny. I don't believe in Santa Claus. I don't believe in none of the Halloween or whatever you call Halloween. I don't believe in none of that shit. I believe reparations needs to come from our leaders. In the meantime, we act like it's up to us. So when I wake up in the morning, I don't buy lottery tickets. I should have bought this last one, I'm not waiting for reparations to slide down the chimney on Christmas Eve. Our black leaders need to be doing that. We need to be taking care of our kids and stacking our own shit, so our kids don't grow up unproductive. Period. I guarantee you now, do you know I'm telling the truth? God is my witness. If my kids walking up here right now, the minute this podcast go off, we're talking about the money. Where is the fucking money coming from? I tell my kids all the time, I could die pass away, I'm in the car every day. I'm on an airplane once a month. I'm in another country once a month. I could die. What would you do if I passed away? Like, okay, hold up, Walter. Like, what would you do? Even when they were babies, something happens to me. What happens to you? Those are the conversations we have with our kids. And the
Yes,
truth is,
Mr. Pirate Brain, how you doing? And you say, did you see the FBI just raided the house of a black person who said, "Hold your vote," saying they are working with the Russians? Yes, I did. I forget the name of the group. African, forgive me, I forget the name, but yes, I did see it. Yeah, ran into their houses saying that they're working in cahoots with Russia and all of that, which they said they're not. But y'all know how it goes. And Kiki, you say, now that's true. The black leaders should be fighting harder for reparations. I agree with that absolutely. And James, how you doing? It says make them do it. Put the pressure on the leaders. It's on us. Absolutely. Like it's always going to be our fault as long as we keep sitting. Not everything, but I'm just saying as long as we keep sending the same old people to Washington. Do y'all know a lot of the people that are in Washington that are our people per se? They're not baby boomers. They're from the silent generation. That's before the baby boomers.
I mean, god damn, Maxine Waters is still in power. John Lewis damn near died in power. Like, you guys, those leaders that were in, our black leaders that are in power now did their thing. John Lewis, a lot of those guys, they moved the ball. But at what point do we take the ball from these cats? Like, at what point, like, do we say it's our turn to to hold the ball? Like, do you realize when I see Nancy Pelosi on TV, I go, she must be thinking, these dumb niggers. These dumb niggas. We ain't doing shit for them, but yet they keep. Nancy Pelosi is not worried about her spots. She is not worried. Maxine, none of them are worried about Joe Biden, this son of a bitch. I cannot believe he has the audacity to say, I'm the one that wrote the crime bill in the first place. Like I put you Negroes in jail and now you voting for me. Like, seriously. And here's the other thing, black people, we need to do is we need to be able to disagree. I agree. My philosophy, most of my black friends don't agree with the way that I think. Period. And I have another guy that I just met, real cool dude. He has a conservative black show. He was some white dude. It's called, I can't even know, Chris and something. Anyways, do you know what I'm talking about? And I watched the show and he's talking about critical race theory. And being black doesn't mean that you have to be reminded all the time of how shitty you are. As a black man, we can actually do shit and take and build wealth and power. But I know his comment section is off the hook from black people wearing his ass out. How dare you say we can do this on our own? Or like, at what point do we become responsible? You guys, our kids are getting murdered financially, physically, and mentally. 1/3 to 1/2 of our kids have some mental issue, depression, anxiety, some shit going on. And it's our fault as parents. Turn off the TV. Stop giving your 2, 3-year-old iPads. If you get your 2, 3, 4-year-old got an iPad or a computer, they're fucked. Period. That's like my grandson, he'll walk in here, Titus, he's 2 years old, and he'll hit the screen, Tayo. I'm like, no, we're not watching Tayo today, homeboy. Me and him, we watched Too Big to Fail. I was like, this Goldman Sachs, that's Barney Frank. Like, he's 2. I know people think it's crazy, but what happens when you think he's 12? And my grandfather made me watch all these financial movies, and he's always talking about investing. He keeps buying me a piggy bank every year. Like, sooner or later, he's going to get it. Same with the rest of my grandkids. You understand what I'm saying? But that has to come from us. Period. 40, 50 years. How do you have a job for 50 years and you ain't done shit?
Because we are complacent as voters and we have a lot of apathy, right? We're just, well, it's the name and I'm a vote for a child. She's been in office so long and she just good. As they say, she show up with turkeys and water and all that other stuff. But it's like, yeah, look at your neighborhood though. Have they actually done anything to help you move the ball? That's what they go to Washington for. No other race sends people to Washington, the city council, or whatever, and allow them to stay there and deliver nothing for them. They get their people moving in and out quick. They're like, oh, okay, that's SOB. That's what we'll show them. They organize on them and they get them out of there. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, think about California, right? California is pretty liberal and they've had some pretty wacky governors, but one of them was that of Arnold Schwarzenegger, the governor. People were sick of Gray Davis. That's who was in there before. He, was jacking up the economy, and everybody voted in, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, most people did, the majority, and they thought he was going to be better. How long did Arnold Schwarzenegger stay in there as governor?
As long as he wanted to.
No, I think I want to say they got him out of there pretty quickly after he started to mess up the rotation. But the point that I'm making is, oftentimes when, let's say, white people, they see that their people are not delivering the bacon or they making life hard for them, they get them out of there. But us, we're loyal to a name. We're loyal to nothing. We'll watch a Maxine Waters show up at the homeless, somehow word got out that they was giving away vouchers for people to get housing. And then she says, oh, that was a mistake. Y'all go home. That was like, we homeless. Where we going? But it was so, like in her mind, she thought that was the right thing to say. But it was so tone deaf and just so like, because they're just used to saying anything to Black people and people who need stuff. And we believe it, right? Just go home and we'll call you. First of all, I'm homeless. Second of all, I probably ain't got no phone. And third of all, you just telling me that because it's what I want to hear. And you're used to us believing the nonsense from you. So again, as Black people, do this. This is a good litmus test that you should do, right? And we should do. If you live in a neighborhood that is embattled and having some issues or whatever, walk out, look to the right, look to the left. And if you see that it has some issues, it's dilapidated, it's trash and all kind of stuff everywhere, and I'm not blaming all the trash on them because that's part of our fault too. But if your neighborhood has not improved, and then you could drive a couple of miles up the street and see everybody else's neighborhood is good, maybe you need to vote somebody else in that's going to actually get the job done. And I'm going to say this before I get into these comments. We as Black people need to let go of, well, if it's not a Democrat, then I don't want to vote for him, because how do you know a Republican won't do your area or whatever better if you don't give it a try? Give them one term. And I'm nonpartisan, so I'm not on either side, but I'm just saying, give somebody else a chance to see if they'll make things better. And if they don't, vote them out. They don't have to sit in the seat 20, 30 years. I'm just saying.
And, oh man, like, we started out talking about the kids, right? What about the children? Who was that? Rush Limbaugh used to always go after Jesse Jackson. Lord have mercy. That dude was a hot mess. But what if we just, for one moment, said, okay, now every time we see our kids, we're going to teach them something, even if it's something small. Like my daughter Morgan, right? And she's 16. Wait, 16, 17. No, she's 17 because she's about to be 18 next May. Hallelujah. So she's 17, and I'm on her about doing this. So you and Evan should have an Evan and Morgan show. He's always messing with you. You guys should get this on tape, and I would help you. And I'm always on them. And so I'm on her Instagram, and I see she's holding this bag. And she goes, no, Dad, that's not my bag. That's a bag that I made and I sold to one of my friends. I was like, oh, shit, you got it. She goes, oh, she's just looking at me crazy. I was like, no, you don't understand. You get it. You get it now. You made something and you sold it for a profit. That, far as I'm concerned, you could drop out of school right now. I got one of my son, Evan, who's brilliant. He's Mr. Everything. And he's questioning the school system. He goes to Berkeley. He's at a top school in Cali, full ride. And he's like, Dad, this ain't, like, in so many words, I don't know. I'm like, what you need, Evan, is the hustle. We need to get you dirty and get you that grimy, get your nails dirty. And you need to go through some shit. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, we make the mistake of making sure our kids are too comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And that could be our fault as a struggling parent. And then you want your kids to do better. But we got to get our kids in the ditches. And we got to teach them how to pick representatives. Like I voted for Obama the first time, and I'm a registered Republican. I voted for Obama. I believed in change, and then I was like, okay, these Democrats ain't changing. Let me try another way. You know what I'm saying? But if I tell, like, if I go to a black community and I put a Republican sign in my on my lawn, it's gonna get burned down. I'm gonna have to duck. It's gonna be some shit in my neighborhood. And my question is, at what point do we get to the position where we can disagree on something but still move the ball together? Because like in my neighborhood in Texas, I'll see a Joe Biden sign and then I'll see a Trump sign right now. Now, the Joe Biden sign is far few between, but I do see them next to each other. But they'll be out laughing and talking. But you get two black people that don't vote for Democrats. Oh, it's only cracking. It's wartime up in here. Like, look what we did to Ice Cube. Like, Ice Cube is a real black man, in my opinion. Brother from the streets. Oh, shit. The shit he went through to Are We Here Yet? And all the shit, the brother went to the Republicans, was like, where is our shit? And black people wore his ass out. I've been watching, Claudia Jordan is a good friend of mine from the Queens, and I watched her and her three buddies wear this dude out about going to Donald Trump. And he was cool. Ice Cube has actually changed. He was patient. He was like, but I'm like, these sisters are wearing this dude out because he went to the Republicans like, where's our shit? And then the Democrats, I guess they agreed to give us our shit, but where's our shit? So we shut Ice Cube up, and we still don't have our shit. Where's our shit? Where is our shit? That should be a hashtag. Where's our shit? That's it. And I don't register as independent because they don't have enough power yet. And I get it. We could give them power by voting one at a time. But shit, I'm 52. I need to see some sort of progress.
So let me see. Let me get to some of these questions. Pioneer says, and what did the Republicans / Trump do for Ice Cube after he went to them? Well, I mean, you got to remember too, Trump was not reelected. And so that was based on, reelection because he actually wanted to go to both of them. But the Biden administration, well, they weren't in office at the time, but the Biden campaign did not want to talk to him. They said, let's wait and see type of thing. So Trump, his son, I believe it was, they were open and they talked about it. In fact, he even handed them Powernomics, Dr. Claude Anderson's book, so they could look into it. So Ice Cube wasn't saying, oh, we need to be Republicans. His idea was, well, whoever goes into office, this is the contract with Black America. These are the things that's in it. And it was well put together by a whole bunch of Black economists and all those type of things. He did talk to Dr. Claude Anderson. So it wasn't something he just wrote down like a rap lyric. It was well thought out. So he was like, whoever gets in office and whoever will talk to me. But like Walter said, we got in our feelings and we, ripped them a whole new one. And it really made me mad because I'm like, damn, are we that silly when it comes to, voting for a party? Like, this man is going to ask for something. Ice Cube don't need no money. Ice Cube got what, 140, $50 million. He wasn't going in there necessarily for himself. He was like, basically, I want to leave things better for my grandchildren. And I want to try to make a difference and get something for my people. So he didn't need to go in there for himself. He got his pieces of the pie. And so, Trump.
And where did he start from? Where did Ice Cube start from? He started from the bottom. Ice Cube started from the bottom. Like from the bottom. And this brother's on his way he is creeping up on hundreds of millions of dollars as a gangster rapper, to where he's on his way to the point where Ice Cube has the attention of the presidential candidate and the president. Think about that for a second. So that we want to talk about Black people and what we can't do. Here's a brother from the streets of LA that has both of these dudes' attention. And I was going to call him Blow Biden. Did Joe Biden blow him out of the water? No. Did Donald Trump blow him out of the water? Who blew Ice Cube out of the water? Black people, and especially Black women. Because in my opinion, I think a lot of Black men are conservative. And I know most of my Black buddies I'm talking about most of my black buddies are voting for. They're like when this ticket rolls around again, we ain't gonna say a lot because we don't want to need security, but we voting for the red team. And these are brothers from all walks of life. When we get together, and I'm like, are y'all sure? Y'all sure y'all want to go through that? That's a man, being an independent. Look what we did to Kanye West. I know Kanye has some cuckoo comments. I'm not here to defend all his shit. But man, Kanye had such a good point. And by the way, the guy's on his way to $4 or $5 billion. And Kanye ran for president. I get it. Kanye was out there. But like, would it have hurt us to give Kanye 4 or 5 hours of uninterrupted?
You know what though? I listened to Ice Cube, Kanye, and I was like, this brother he made a lot of good points. And I know the slavery thing kind of touched a nerve. So depending on your interpretation of what he said, yeah, I'll give you that. But the other stuff he was talking about, he was talking about abortions in the black community and the educational system and he's got a good head on his shoulders when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, imagine if we did vote somebody like Kanye West into office. How much better would it be?
Somewhere in office. I get it. Kanye's not presidential material because, first of all, Kanye got too much shit going on in his life to be president. I don't know why he'd want that job in the first place. But the dude, from my time with working with him, he is beyond brilliant. And if you listen to Kanye, go watch the Joe Rogan interview with Kanye.
That's what I watched.
That, if you want to see a black man representing his race to the fullest, watch the Joe Rogan interview with Kanye West. He laid out all these things for black people. And I'm going, you know what? If one day all the media networks just were held hostage and we could run that interview for 3 hours and 26 minutes, whatever it was, with him and Joe Rogan, and let every black person in America watch that without the woke and getting caught up in your feelings, this world will change in 20 minutes. Because the next morning you woke up, you'd be going, oh shit, Kanye's right. And you guys, I know for a fact, I watched Kanye come from nothing to billions. I was this brother's financial planner when we were like praying over the checking account to where he is right now. And I'm just thinking the dude was brilliant, but we shut his ass up. And the comment he made about slavery, his timing was just off. He made a comment. All of y'all, like there's 400 of us and 2 of them, that was his thought. And I get it, but nobody trying to take that first bullet. So I understand why people got mad. But every time a black leader comes up, black people, we kill him. Bill Cosby, we wore his ass out. He's talking about the Nets, and y'all need to save money, and y'all black brothers out here need to invest, and we wore his ass out. You can't say shit to black people about doing well.
Absolutely. Yep. So Timothy, thank you so much for the donation. I love and appreciate you for that. He says, I'm a chef. My second donation to you. What dish would you like? I'm greedy. What?
Lamb chops.
No. I'm back vegan, y'all, so I can't eat meat or anything like that. But I would like a cake, a vegan cake. Like I love cake, right? So, cake. So thank you.
Yeah, y'all need to cut this shit out talking about Kanye is a sellout. Kanye has done more for black people than most of our black leaders will ever do. I tell you, from knowing this brother personally,
did acknowledge it.
I'm on the phone with Kanye's people right now, one of his managers. And the shit that they have planned is incredible. But he's got to get over. See, this is the thing with black people. When you do too well, you become a sellout. I would like to, and I can't run for office. Hell no, I'd be in there one day. They'd be like, oh, hell to the no. Oh, hell no. I'd be in office one day. It'd be impeachment. But just think about what makes Kanye West a sellout? I want that answer. What makes him a sellout?
Are you asking me? I didn't say Kanye.
I'm asking everybody. What makes Kanye West a sellout? What makes him a sellout?
I don't think he's a sellout. I don't think he's a sellout at all.
I hear that. I just read one of the comments, and I hear that all the time. Kanye is a sellout. What makes a black man that is worth billions of dollars, that has given people jobs over jobs and created jobs for people all over the world. Do you know how many people, black people, Kanye has put on in the music industry? Like some of you guys love John Legend, but like Kanye is the one that put, John Legend was Kanye's piano player for years. He was Kanye's piano player. We do a concert, or I'd be backstage with John and Kanye. The two would bubble. Kanye has done a lot for a lot of people. And there are black kids out there that was like, yo, I can do it, he can do it. Kanye West, he's the one, not directly, he didn't tell me to do it, but based on working, he's the one that inspired Verbal Herb. I was like, damn, the dude is a mega, mega billionaire from clothing and fashion. Like, they're asking this dude to run Louis, Balenciaga. I mean, like, as a black kid growing up, if I'm looking at a Kanye or an Ice Cube, I go, I could do it. But I need to get the woke movement out of the way to give me permission to appreciate an Ice Cube. Because this woke shit has got me going to sleep, and it is killing black people. Like, seriously. Come on, you guys. Cut this shit out. We don't have to be black first before we become successful. Because we always going to be black. I'm tired of talking about my race every time I go into a business venture. Well, we got programs for black people. I don't want those. I want the programs for everybody. What programs are you giving to everybody? You understand what I'm saying? And black people, we got to give each other permission to do well. Somebody made a comment about my neighbor doing well. The only reason my neighbor's doing well, and maybe the person that isn't doing well, because my neighbor works an 18-hour day and him and his wife stack money like crazy. That's the difference. My neighbor, he's not super macho. He doesn't have all this physical, he's not Mr. Swag. But he works hard as a mother. That's it. That's all there is to it. And yeah, that's more. Kanye is a sell everything. That's what we ought to call him. I love it that Kanye is super successful. And Ice Cube. And Snoop Dogg. And all these guys that have made it. Like Shaquille O'Neal. This dude. Like, if we made our kids study Shaquille O'Neal, not free throws, because that's a loss, but like, think about what Shaquille O'Neal has done. And he's on his way to being a billionaire, by the way. Even after divorce and all that other stuff, he's on his way to being a billionaire. For his ventures in Papa John, Google, by the way, Shaq, his Google investment has paid off well. And he said it came from a white dude. He said a white boy approached him, was like, no, screw it, we got you. We got you, Jack. Here's what you're going to do. He says it all the time. The white dude grabbed me. Watch his videos. You understand what I'm saying? And Kanye didn't say black people volunteered to be slaves. That's not what he said. What he said was, once we were slaves, there was so many of us. At what point, like, where was the revolt? Right? And here's the other thing, you guys. Kanye, since when does everybody have to be right all the time? Look at the shit Joe Biden says. He's still using the word Negro in 2022. And we wearing his ass out. Martin Luther King, who was a black leader, he had women all over the place. I don't see them tearing his statues down. Come on, y'all. Y'all beating up Kanye for getting with Kim Kardashian. We got to cut that shit out. Some of y'all brothers, especially y'all brothers, y'all know y'all be with a white chick or a Persian chick the minute the lights go out. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want to do, ain't nothing wrong with that. Half of us on here got white blood in the shit. I'm tired of talking about race. I can't even keep up. Saw my grandparents. I was like, who invited Casper the Ghost and family to the reunion? I'm like, they look more white than black, which was confusing. Right?
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. It's a neoliberal policies in the last 40 years and Reese's or races. But thank you so much. I love and appreciate you for that.
Yeah, you ought to be pissed at the liberals for saying, black woman, you don't need your man. We'll cut your check long as he don't show up. And black men, it's our fault that we weren't sure. I get it. We prosecuted, arrested. I understand all that stuff that happened to black men during the civil rights movements. I get it. So my father reminded me of it constantly and educated me on it.
So let me take this. Pioneer says Ice Cube promoted gangsterism too, but he promoted black empowerment and consciousness, so he did more good than bad. Yes, he did. You got to remember too, Ice Cube was a kid back then, and usually people evolve when they become adults, and they don't think the same way as they did when they were children. So Ice Cube has definitely done great things. He's a black business owner who has put a lot of black people on, and everything you can think of. So I don't have anything bad to say about Ice Cube. In fact, I used to be in love with Ice Cube, but then he got married to Kim, and so that's kind of water under the bridge.
We have to be able to let the things we don't agree with go. Like, I had drinks with Nipsey Hussle at a party, and I listened. I was like, dude, rap niggas is my shit. I don't let my kids listen to it, but that's my cut right there. But the way he was like, I own all my masters, like he was just basically saying, like, I own my shit. And I'm just like, that if we could just turn that rap niggas record into like a schoolhouse instrumental and ask, so you know what I'm saying? But like, Nipsey was on the right track. But if you listen to Nipsey's music, it wasn't like he was always promoting positivity. Some of the shit I listened, I was like, whoa, that's some wild shit he just said. But at the end of the day, he was helping the community. So I don't care really how he got there. It's just that he was creating positivity. And black people, when we start doing that, like when we see another brother doing well, like anytime I see a black dude and he's in a nice car, he's suited up, I step to him like, what is it you do? And how can I be like you? And I'm not embarrassed. I love to see black men doing well. When I see a black man on TV that's doing well, I'm like, yo, that is what we need. I want my kids to see black men doing well, because when the black man gets power over his race, it's all over. The differences between the Jews and the Japanese is their men run shit. You don't see Jewish women up there talking shit, talking over their man. The men run shit. It's a man's job to take care of his family. He is the head of the household, and the woman is the neck. She just needs to turn his ass in silence. That's the difference between the Jews and the Japanese. Is they women, they wait till the door shut and they wear his ass out, and he come out all straightened out.
Oh, you mean they don't do it in public?
Wearing his ass out, like, man. I'm just gonna talk to my sisters for a second, because y'all do black women.
Before you do that, let me thank Timothy. Thank you so much. I hope you saw my dimples there. I would love a carrot cake. I love carrot cake.
You don't need no carrot cake.
I knew he was gonna say that.
All that sugar in that carrot, man. Anyways, don't get me started. We talked about that last week. But black women, you guys are. I'm trying to say this in a good, like, black women, you have so much power.
Tread lightly, brother. Tread lightly. I'm just playing.
I don't need to tread. I'm just saying, black women, you have so much power. Like, I turn on the TV. This show is produced by a black woman, Sharonda Rhimes, and maybe I'm saying her name. All these black women in power, like every day. And I don't know if you could do it now, but Whoopi Goldberg, you see her on The View, and she got pulled on that show. Like, where is the march behind that? We had a black woman on TV every day dropping. Whoopi pretty educated. I don't see Whoopi as some liberal lay down. I know she's on the left or whatever. Like, black women, there's a lot of, matter of fact, there's more black women on TV than men. I'm trying to think. How would you say the ratio is to black women on TV versus black men? You know what I'm saying? I got dimples. I got my mustache. You can't really see. Right, but man, if we could take that black man and that black woman, they don't have to be together. They don't have to be married. We can still work together without being in a relationship together. You understand what I'm saying? Stop with the cake now. No cake for you. I'm excited about today that black women and men get on the same page. And we tell the media, yo, stop with that stuff you're putting on TV. We don't want to see it no more. We don't want to see black men every time they're on stage, on TV, they're fighting. They're arguing amongst each other. We're tired of it. That's it. You understand what I'm saying? Timmy, that's all right. Keep putting that money up. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Anyways, you guys, we need to save our kids. They need us. Like, our kids are in danger. As a parent, if you have black kids, just think, if you passed away, what does your kids' life look like? Are they prepared? Are you having the tough conversations with them?
You
And
know,
the
and I
other,
want to, not to cut you off. And Charles, how you doing? High school friend. You say Walter's perspective is on point. Yes, indeed. Um,
that's my man.
actually,
What up, Charles?
huh?
So what up, Charles? Out in Las Vegas. It was hot out there.
Yes, I actually learned that from you as well as I mean, as far as how to look into the future and see how your children would be without you. Walter started selling, well, he was a financial advisor, and part of his job was to sell life insurance. And I was like 23, 24 years old. And I remember him in my kitchen, talking about you need life insurance. And I'm like, oh, hell no. If something happened to my daughter, then I'm just going to hop in the casket and this, that, the other. And he was like, first of all, you're being stupid. So eventually, when I stopped being stupid, I did get some life insurance. But he said, basically, if you were to go today, what would you want your daughter to do? Now, then my daughter's like 2 or 3. He says, what would you want her to do if you weren't here? Would you want her to go to college? Yeah, I'd like to go to college. Would you want her to have a car, so she can get back and forth? Yeah, I'd like for her to have a car. And what about when she gets married? Would you want to contribute something to that? Would you want to help at least her, buy a house if you weren't here? And I said, yeah. He says, well, that's how much money you need to get in life insurance. Now, of course, as your kids get older, you need a new policy. Of course, you want to drop the amount you need, especially if they're no longer in your home, because you won't have to think about those things. But having a small child, I was like, yeah, I would want her to have all those things. I wouldn't want her to struggle, or God forbid, if I had to leave her with somebody. She had a dad and was like, Lord have mercy. But, if I had to leave her with somebody, I would not want them to take care of my daughter without any money, because we've all heard about stories of people who inherited children, from a relative that passed away. And then a child grows up and says it was hell. They hated me. They treated me bad. They didn't treat me like the other kids. And a lot of that was simply because their parents died and didn't leave them any resources to take care of their children. So all of that was important to me when thinking about what would I want, how would I want my daughter to live if I wasn't here. And so I think that's very important for us to think about.
and it's easy, 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 easy. I was talking to someone the other day because I always talk about if something happens to me, what happens to my kids. And I said, you know what? If I passed away, my kids would be multimillionaires. Because first of all, the easiest, and it sucks because somebody got to die in this situation. It's easy to leave generational wealth. Life insurance is so cheap. It is cheap, cheap, cheap. If you have family and kids or anyone near you that you need to take care of and you don't have life insurance and you can get it, coming from somebody that can no longer at this moment get any more, shame on you. Thank God I took out the life insurance that I did. Because even if I had another penny, my life insurance would pay them. And then in addition, what you do, and you don't have to do a 33-page manifesto like I did, but you should, is if you die, your kids know what to do. And my kids, I'm nuts. I told them, yo, or what if you become disabled? Life insurance has a clause that will cut you a check. If I had a stroke right now, and it would be crazy to watch, and I couldn't perform or move around, my kids know what to do. They know that I want a full-time masseuse, heels, bathing suits. I got the whole party written out. I got it all written down. Here's what I want to eat. Movies, Tommy's Crown Affair. I like the usual suspects. I want food. Here's what I want to eat. I got it broken down to where to put the money, real estate, mutual funds, all that stuff. And it just started as a one page and it turned into this huge thing. But what if everyone had something like that? Like if something happens to you, your kids aren't like, oh my God, what do I do? And it's cheap. You can buy $1 million life insurance as a 50-year-old man in decent shape from AIG for $75 a month. $75, $1 million. You die, your kids are on their way. And then you start stacking some shit. Like real estate, you guys. And I wasn't a fan of real estate 2 or 3 years ago. My sister, I was like, F real estate. I got murdered in real estate. And so I was like, oh, I was being stupid. I'm going to get back in it. And thank God, because the cool thing about real estate is you can buy something and just hold on to it. And sooner or later, it will appreciate. Like right now, real estate is coming down. So we get to buy it. You can walk and buy. It's easier, you guys. And I know I'm talking money. Sorry. It's easier, and you can leave that up there for a while because we can have fun with this. It's easier to buy
And
a
there's one I want you to address too first. So I'm gonna actually put this one up first, and then I'll go back to Al's.
okay. It is easier to buy a 4-unit apartment building than it is to buy a house. Listen to me again, you guys. It is easier to buy a 4-unit apartment building than it is to buy a house. Because if let's say you like right now, I'm looking at Texas, and I have some friends who are from Alabama. I know it's out there, but I had dinner with my friend Takwa and her husband Scotty. He's white as the sky. He's the whitest person in the dictionary. It's a picture of him as white. And I had dinner with his parents from Alabama, and I'm expecting these racists, the honkies, and I'm like, I'm getting my blackness ready. And his parents were like, hey, oh shit, you gotta come down and stay with us. I was like, whoa, I heard Alabama was fucked up like black people. Like, oh, cut that shit out. You come stay with us. Matter of fact, you can buy the property next to us, and we can do Airbnbs together. The point I'm making is, right now you can go buy shit, and you can buy a 4-unit, and you can use the income from that 4-unit. So let's say I'm gonna buy a 4-unit for 300 grand. And the bank says, well, is it rented? Yes. Well, how much is it getting? It's getting $4,000 a month. They will let you take $3,000 or 75% of that income from the fourplex and add it to yours to qualify, which is mind-blowing to me. If you're buying an investment property, they will let you use the future income or the current income from that investment property to purchase it. It's like T-Boone Pickens. Remember Gulf Oil, the leverage buyout? I'm going to buy your business, but I'm going to borrow money from a bank to buy your business and use the income from your business to pay the loan off. That is a leverage buyout. That's what you can do in real estate. And it is not easy. You guys trust me, but it's not easy, but it's simple. Here's the math. I'm walking through the 5th Ward, right? I'm looking over my shoulder. I never been there, but from what I heard, I need to be looking over my shoulder. I haven't been there, so I'm just going off of like my sister and all these people say it's dangerous. I'm going through the 5th Ward in Houston, right?
I just heard it myself, so
you ain't either. Ain't that some shit? So we're walking through the 5th Ward and we see a 4-unit building, right? And we go to the seller and say, I heard I heard that you're selling. You want 300 grand. I'm gonna give you 300 grand. Matter of fact, I'll give you 330. All I want at the end of the sale is I want the $30,000 back at closing. And what I would like you to do is I would like you to seller finance. What that means is I'm going to come up with the down payment, and I'm going to ask you to carry the note. I'm going to pay you until I get things in order so I can then get a bank to take it over, number one. Or I can go to a bank and say, I want to borrow money against this unit. And they're going to say, well, where's the income? Here it is. And then they're going to look at the deal based on the income. See, when you buy investment real estate, they look at the deal, the property. They don't look at your credit and your income. They look at the deal. And that's what we should be focusing on right now. So now that you own investment real estate, when the market goes up, you guys, home equity is yours to keep. I don't care if you own land in Mississippi. Just buy something. A lot of your parents and aunts and uncles have land that you don't even, land that's just sitting out in the middle of boonies, and you guys, oh, it's just a piece of land. Are you insane? Your uncle has a piece of land in the middle of nowhere and you don't have something on it, or RV, or what if you just had a piece of land? Just had a piece of land. Like we bought land in the desert, and driving out there, like I'll drive out there, I'll park my car on it, and I'll sit out there, I'll smoke a cigar, open a bottle of wine, I'll sit on my shit for hours and just look at the stars. And I'm like, one day there's gonna be a house here. And worst come to worst, me and my family will all have a place to come and stay, grow our fruit trees, pomegranate, olives, avocados. We can put all this shit on our land. When Black people, we start having those conversations, the gap will close, period. So it's not easy, but it's simple. And Black people, we need to cut that shit out. Stop with this. It's not easy comments. That's total horseshit. We don't need those comments. Those comments don't help us. What it does, when you have a Black man say, yo, I own investment real estate and here's how you do it. And then you have somebody say, oh, but it's not easy. You lose half the room because they go, oh, it's right. He's right. It's not easy. So I'm going to continue sucking as a human being financially.
Can you take this question here?
Black women want to be women and not have to hustle like men, but the economic gap makes it difficult to live off one income. What's your solution? Number one, ladies, you are right. I don't think it's a woman's job to support the household financially. I don't. I do not. And I work my ass off like a one-legged man in a booty kicking contest to make sure my ex-wife never worked and I was haunting me, but that's my fault. But even in my situation here, me and my girl get into it all the time, and I have my trump card. I was like, I take care of this household financially. She's like, shut up. But I'm like, even though it turns into a stupid argument, I know when she take her ass to work, she think, yeah, he do take care of the house. And I work 8 jobs. Some of y'all heard my phone going off. Offer up. I got Facebook. I got 50 things ringing. I sell everything. I don't really care. Because I think as a woman, your job is to watch the household. And women, it's your job to make his ass work harder. Some of the biggest arguments me and my girlfriend has is about me working hard. She's like, oh, you make it look easy, just like whatever homeboy said. I said, well, I don't know what to say. She goes, everybody ain't you. But everybody can do what I do. You understand what I'm saying? You got property in Little Rock, keep it moving, brother. Get 2 more. Build on it. Hold on to it. You understand what? Real estate is the key. Black people, they have the NACA program. They slow as hell, but it is out there. Did tell you NACA program is slow. They slow drag it. Of course they're going to slow drag it. They ain't going to want you to have it like that. You know what I'm saying? You can lead us up here. I'm going to deal with Al. And then I saw on TikTok, and I was embarrassed for the black race. But the sister's like, do you know you can use NACA and then use your Section 8 voucher to buy real estate? So NACA will give you the down payment to buy real estate, and you can use your Section 8 voucher to pay the mortgage. And I went, oh, shit. Okay. But I'm like, how many Section 8 people are thinking, I want to build wealth with that? Because I don't even know if that's true, if you can do that. But I do know that there are programs out there that will help you get into a piece of property. My sister, you bought that house for what, 200 grand? And then it eventually went up to worth 400. I don't know what we ultimately did with it. But I know right now, anything that you've bought in the last 2 or 3 years is gone up in value, if it's land or real estate or whatever. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't know what's up with the carrots. I
want a carrot cake, so I'll take the chocolate cognac.
Chocolate cognac. I don't like sugar, but that sounds good.
Right.
Actually, real fact, black people, if you drink green tea with your meal, it negates the effect of the sugar on your body. I drink green tea all day, every day. If I have a drink, a glass of wine, cognac, I'll follow it with green tea. That's just a fact you can use. We should be buying all the green tea we can, and that actually helps. So if you want to eat your carrot cake D or your chocolate cognac cake, follow it with some green tea.
Period. Thank you, Timothy.
Yeah, we like money. See, revenue equals rights. And you can go to verbalherb.com and get you one, and I'll send you a message personally, because everyone that buys a shirt from Verbal Herb, I get to see it. And I do respond to the people that buy. But
take this question here.
One of my coworkers' mom has life insurance on him because she thinks he's going to be the first to die. She's smart. Now, he should have it on her too, because you have to be careful where you put your mental energy too. Like I have life insurance on me, on my woman. My woman has millions of dollars of life insurance. I have it on me. Something happens to me, her and my kids are getting checks. Something happens to her, I'm getting a check. That's not how I want to get checks. But if something happened to my woman and, I was devastated, and I would be, I would want the opportunity to chill, take some time off, and get my thoughts right. And it's just nice knowing that I have money coming to the household and vice versa. And I have life insurance on my kids too. One of my kids would have passed away, would wreck my life. It would be havoc. But imagine being able to say, okay, I can take a break, you guys. We can mourn properly. We're not passing the bucket and none of that stuff. And my brother, I worked 80 to 90 hours a week until I had a heart attack. Again, this is one of those comments, and I'm sorry I'm being a little mean today, but working 80 to 90 hours, the question is, what are you doing with the cash? See, you work 80 to 90 hours, but 8, 9 of those hours should be put in a piggy bank somewhere. Because if you work 80 to 90 hours for 5 years and you stack 10, 20% of your money and investment stocks, real estate, and all that stuff, sooner or later, those 80 to 90 hours, you can dictate those to other people. Do you guys realize this? We have a picture of Jeff Bezos in I want to say 97. This is a real picture. And he's got Amazon written on a piece of cardboard or something behind his desk. In 1997, Jeff Bezos was shipping the books himself. Him and his wife, they were shipping the books to people. This was 25 years ago. Do you think Jeff Bezos worked 80 hours a week? I would bet that he worked 100, 120. I don't know how many hours in a week, but I guarantee he worked all of them. He probably worked, slept, woke, worked. He wasn't woke. Worked, slept. He probably worked like a dog, but he hired people. Okay, it's on you, homie. You take this. Now we're doing books. Now we're doing this. Now we're doing that. Now we're doing all these things. You know what I'm saying? And now Jeff Bezos, he spends 80 to 90 hours with what's his name? The Sanchez chick.
Lauren Sanchez.
I'm happy for her. Lord,
they cheated on their spouses for each other.
That's not my issue or my fault. I'm just saying. And Mackenzie, she seemed okay. You know, she walked away with a few $1 billion.
She was made the richest woman in the world due to that divorce settlement.
Right, and she deserved it. She helped him build a company, right? But I'm still happy for. I'd like to see when people win. But Jeff Bezos, you guys, we could all learn from him. Tell AOC to shut the hell up. We like Jeff Bezos. Amazon is not the killer, and I don't care if they paid never a penny in tax. I know, or I can touch somebody that works for Amazon. I know at one point my kids worked for Amazon. I think you worked at Amazon. Deanna worked at Amazon. I can tell you right now, if I fell under my luck, you see my black ass rolling up in an Amazon truck. Me, my woman, we both have on those blue and gray jerseys and those shorts. See, that's the cool thing about being a go-getter is, you know, if the shit hit the fan, you can go get a job. It blows me away that Amazon is hiring, but people still bitching about not being able to find work. It blows me away. So yeah, you should work 80 to 90 hours, but you should take 8, 9, 15, 20, 25, 30, whatever of those hours and put them aside. That's why we have heart attacks, because we work and we don't save the shit. Look at Ice Cube. Okay, let's back up off Ice Cube. I think we made our point. Let's pick, who do you like in music? Like Katy Perry. Let's talk about her, right? Let me finish it out. I was in the studio with Bone Thugs and Harmony some time back, and the lead singer of Bone Thugs and Harmony, he was at the board and he was playing "I Kissed a Girl," and he goes, "Yo, y'all check this out," and he plays it, and everybody, Thugs, Bone Thugs, all these rappers, everybody's sitting there bobbling out to "I Kissed a Girl," and I watched her story of how the shit, most of you guys will never go through the shit Katy Perry went through, or any Alicia Keys, none of these, whatever, whoever it is you love. People will never go through that. The point I'm making is they work like crazy, and then you see them successful. What we need to do is say, okay, what do we need to do to work like that? I work 80 hours a week, at least. And there's no way in hell, as a man in this country, especially a black man, that I could see working less than that when my family is not 100% secure.
Answer this question.
Working that much, especially in physical jobs, takes a lot out of you. Where do y'all get all that time and energy to do all this work? Do you get sick, tired of it, or are you robots? I don't know. Shit. It's not complicated. I wake up at 5 in the morning naturally, and I work out. So when you exercise, it gives you energy, by the way. When you work out, your energy is through the roof. So working out gives you energy, number one. And two, if you get up and just start going, like, it's inertia. Once you start, it's hard. You ever seen that person that you had to pull off the job, or they just worked? That is the point is you keep going, and how you get it done is you have goals. That's it. The fact that I have goals, like I see, like when I drive through the coast or Newport, or I drive through, like I was in what was that city D in Houston, River Oaks. I'm driving through River Oaks, and there's million, two, three, $4 million homes, and I'm going, what would it just be like to just pull up to one of these? Pull up to one of these and have all my kids and grandkids just playing in the backyard. I'm barbecuing. I'm Tay Diggs, whatever. I'm in the backyard. I'm barbecuing. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's just taken care of. What would that be like? Just for one moment. Or even if it was like a regular house, something small, 2,000-3,000 square foot, 4 or 5 acres, and my family was all there. And we would just, what would that be like? That's the thought I have every day I wake up. So when I get up and I'm working at 5, 6 a.m., I'm working till 10 o'clock at night, I'm thinking about that vision of having my kids and my grandkids. I'm sitting there at the barbecue grill, and all my kids and grandkids are playing, and they ain't shit to worry about because we got our own farm, avocados, pomegranates, all that shit is growing. We got our own water, food, cans of tuna, everything. We got millions stacked up, and I got enough life insurance to support the block if I die. Right? That is how you work 80 hours a week. I love Tay Diggs on a great amount. In the show, he's at the barbecue grill. That's why I said Tay Diggs. He's married to a white woman on the show, so I know that's a whole, and I'm not going into that shit. But like, that is what keeps people going, is that security. Like when I worked, my neighbor, when he works at Apple, I know he's tired of working at Apple. But I know he's building up enough money to start his own company, which means he's going to work twice as hard, period. Because you guys working for somebody else is way easier. Trust me. I would love to be able to work 80 hours a week and make $300,000 a year working for somebody else, but I don't trust people like that. Because there's some cats at Robinhood that was balling out that no longer got the ball.
So you said they laid off people today?
23% of theirs yesterday, they announced it. Look at Robin. Whew, like 20% of the company, like 1 in 5 of y'all buy. On top of the 9% before that. You understand? That is crazy to me. So I don't know who the lead singer, if it's Lazy Bone or Crazy, I don't know the lead singer.
I think they all are.
Yeah, but there's one guy, the skinny brother, that's actually the head. He's the one, he's like the sort of the head, the right. I mean, one of the guys is kind of like, maybe the word in charge is wrong, but he's the one that I had the financial conversation with.
Your sister has something to say. She needs to talk to me.
No, she can wait. No, she needs to pop up. We need a third screen. Next week, we need to bring Amanda on it because she's one of these secret, like, investment types. I told her to buy stock options in Tesla. She bought the stock. Hallelujah. Thank God. I hope you still own those because Tesla's at 1,000 now. I know you bought your 2 shares that split into 5 to 1. Now you got 10 and they had 1,000. I need 5 on it because I know you got it. So, in case in point, my sister reminded that it was not an investment guru. We made some huge mistakes together in real estate, mainly me, right? She reminded me of it constantly, right? But like, my sister's not an investment guru, but like she owns stocks. Matter of fact, we were taking stock tips from her. Even while my friends were buying that Zonix or Zonix or whatever that shit that hit $3, I told y'all to sell. I don't even remember the stock. Zoomatica. That shit hit $1. I was out. And then it went to 3 the next day. I was mad, but when it hit the 40 cents, wherever it is now, I was happy. But those are the conversations we can have as a family and then with our kids. And so then the more we work together, I'm taking it back to the kids. Like, and when your kids see you working hard, they may not want to do that, but sooner or later something will click. It may not be right now. Like, I'm mad at my kids, honestly, right now. I'm like, you guys, like, and some of it's my fault, but you have it made. You don't have bills, nothing. You can just go to school. You can fight like hell. You have no risk. And that's the cool thing, you guys, about if you have a parent, or aunt, or uncle in your life and they have your back, you guys treat it like that's a blessing. Because I know kids that can't get a hold of their mom or dad. So the fact that you have two parents, I don't care what you think, you don't agree with the way they're doing it. Who gives a damn? What's the dude from A Soldier Story? Who gives a darn? Or whatever, in the tone of Caesar, what was his name? Caesar Romero. Oh man. Robin Hood was a good man. First of all, we never met Robin Hood. That was a myth, but I get it. Right? And that whole stealing from the rich. I mean, I don't know, whatever. I get it. But Robin Hood, those people are gone. They're stuck.
So in closing, because Amanda seems like she has to talk to me, what say you as far as, so your final ruling is on children working to take care of the household? You say they should do it?
Hell yes. They should be productive, working, but they should be able to save their money. If you got your kid just working and he or she, because it's our job to support them. If you got a 16-year-old kid, it's your job, at least arbitrarily age-wise, to take care of him. That's your job, period. So that's on you. But what if who gives a damn? Okay, that's right. I knew it was one of those old black movies. So what if they could save half their money? How powerful would it be if your kids worked like hell, but was able to keep half their money and save it? That's what makes me work hard, and that's what gives me peace of mind. Knowing that each one of my kids, at least the adults, have money saved, they're, putting money away. And I take 100% of the credit for that. 100%. It got nothing to do with none of their mamas. Their mamas are cool, but I'm the money dude in the family, period. And as a man, it is your job to make sure your kids stack their shit. Me and my kids don't talk about wokeness, or as a black man, you are in jeopardy. Because they already know that. Because the school system tells them all the time, as a black man, you're in danger. Watch out, you're black, be careful. It's just, damn, every time I walk out the house, I'm black. I saw a cop today, and I was about to do a California roll and run the red light at the same time. And I saw him, and I was like, oh, shit. And he looked at me, and he just kind of waved. And I was getting ready to run this light. And the part of me went, oh, shit, I'm black, I got to be careful. And he just looked at me. That's
true.
No, that's true, but I'm just making a point. That energy hit me as a black man. Oh, my God, I'm black, I got to be careful, da-da-da-da-da. And he just kind of waved at me. And I know that's not always the case, but it would be nice sometimes just not to have to go outside with my race on my sleeve, so to speak. Do you understand? Stop. You understand what I'm saying? So anyways, we need to get off. And whatever it is, it better be important, damn it. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm sure it is.
Right. So that's it. That's my fun. Just let your kids work, make your kids work, but make sure they save half. And as a parent, if you're taking all your kids' money, shame on you. You need your ass tarred and feathered.
Yes, indeed. All right, y'all. So thank y'all so much for being here. I love and appreciate every one of y'all, my members, and everyone who gave. Timothy, thank you so much. And who else was Michael and other people? Forgive me for not remembering, but thank y'all so much. We will see y'all, Donovan and I, on Sunday for the Demetra K Show. We'll be live. What we'll talk about, I don't know. But look for some of my videos throughout the week. I put videos up here and there. So thank y'all. It was a good show because you were here. We will see you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your evening.